Welcome back to the Forge of Champions, and we, just before the break, saw EXCEL take Wind and Rain apart in Game 1 of the series. We're about to head into Game 2, where things don't look too hot for Wind and Rain, and it looks like they're running out of rain in those clouds. So, boys... That was terrible, I know. So, boys, let's move on. What do Wind and Rain need to change up here, Gosu?
I think if they're going to kind of just leave the lanes to themselves, I want to see them take up slightly safer lanes, and maybe swap over to something like a Tahm Kench in the bot lane, even an Ezreal ADC, just so then you've got a little bit more safety there. You can play around Taxer on a Trundle. I don't think the MF really worked. I think from what I could see, the game plan looked like it was supposed to be Noti gets into the bottom lane and helps him out there, but it's just Taxer got there first and did a far better job of it, that the whole thing just fell apart. I
wasn't convinced on Akatsuni on the Pyke either.
I mean, I don't think he did bad. He landed the combination in the lane, but as soon as Taxer has gained your lane like twice and you're that far behind and it's Bat's the one dying both times and he's your main damage dealer, there's only so much you can do as a support.
Yeah, but he's so good at like things like Zilean,
and
right?
that's the point that I was going to get onto is I don't think the Pyke was bad for him, but let's just stick to what we know and let's do it on a patch where actually poke champions are going to be really impactful.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's probably where I would be heading. You know, okay, Zilean's going to get banned, right? You don't have Zilean as an option, but there's plenty.
Vel'Koz, let's do it.
Yeah, really well.
I mean, I love support Vel'Koz.
I don't.
It has a strong place in my heart.
Don't you only play Aatrox? Pre-rework Aatrox?
No, that's like new me,
old Dowsy. But like
old Dowsy that actually played League and, you know, to a high enough level that he didn't feel bad about himself. Love to support Vel'Koz.
Okay, all right. Well, that already sums up you as a person. Gosu.
Yeah.
What of EXCEL? I mean, what worked so well for them there? Was this just this felt like a composition that EXCEL have played many times before. I could probably take that composition and put it into EU Masters and say EXCEL have played that. So it feels like something they're comfortable on, right? Yeah,
definitely. And it showed. I mean, Taxer knew going in what his game plan was. It was leave the Shogat to do his own thing. And we were just going to get that Jhin ahead over and over again. Yeah. And as you were saying, you know, the changes to the crit items means that he's picking up those power spikes way sooner than he was previously. And they just tore through Wind and Rain with it.
It's really interesting because like we kind of had a discussion when we knew that the new patch was going to be coming out today about how this would impact the marksman role. And so, yes, it brings a lot of early I guess spike to the marksmen, but you know, if the games were to go later, would it hurt them more? Who knows? But clearly right there, Jhin, with just a bit of the lead, has just skyrocketed back.
If you end the game in 20 minutes, you don't need to go to late games.
I love it. It's good. It's what we needed to kind of bring League of Legends back to where it once was.
No, I see. I am of the opinion,
especially in the bot lane.
I'm of the opinion that I like the new bot lane meta. As a support main as well, I really like the new bot lane meta where anything is viable. I actually think it's sort of what's the word? Breathed. It's given a breath of fresh air. Yeah, it's given a breath of fresh air.
It's breathable. Was that what you were trying to say? Breathable?
No, like, I was trying to say give a breath of fresh air, but breathe of.
He sprayed a little bit of stuff around the place and it smells nice.
What I'm trying to say is I think it's made it a lot more interesting to watch. And also, you know, obviously we've had to have people adapt out of their normal AD carry pools. But I just think it has made League a really entertaining esport again, because it's not just the same old thing again. It's not just AD carries in the bot lane. And everything is set. There is a little bit more flexibility. Compositions are a bit more interesting to look at. Just my personal opinion. I know a lot of people disagree with that as well. A lot of people say, where's my AD carries? But
I mean, you're a Fabrizi kind of guy.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah. Just
what did that just had no relevance.
It did.
Yeah. Regardless, I think if you're looking at these two teams, EXCEL just ran away with it. They look fantastic. I mean, you really got to look at how can Wind and Rain swap it up, because I think you got to put an ulti on something that's a bit different. Like they locked in that Syndra in that third slot just before the second ban phase. I would have loved if they locked in the Nocturne there. You ban away the Kindred and you set yourself up perfect. You've got other stuff that can do well in Theorian, and like Azir has come up fantastically. I mean, why don't you throw an Azir in the mid lane, and then you've got a super strong mid laner. You've now got Noti on something that he can have a very clear gank path with, then it all works out great for you. Alright,
so we've got the Taliyah ban. This time Wind and Rain are on the blue side. Taliyah likely targeted toward Taxer, but Rippy is known to play that in the mid lane too. And again, it doesn't look like the EXCEL ban strategy is changing. I'm going to imagine it's going to be the Zilean LeBlanc once more.
Yeah, nothing to change there. The Zoe as well. Don't want to really see that in the mid lane. For Wind and Rain, do they change their bans?
There's Aatrox
Or
as
they can first pick Jin, actually. Maybe they actually do change this up and ban Jin as the last one there over Zoe.
Do they give over Aatrox then? I mean,
true.
Kerberos has played it, didn't look amazing on it, gave over solo kills to who was it? Can't think of the name of him, but he's playing on Poppy anyway. From his Shikari. He ended up giving over solo kills to Shikari on the Poppy as well, so he didn't look the best on it. So maybe EXCEL just kind of go, yeah, look, we'll give it over to you, we'll just lock in the Poppy.
This is where the weird... Because the Nocturne ban to me strikes that they're going to want Aatrox, they're going to want Zoe, or they're going to want Jin, depending on what EXCEL end up banning. And they're going to ban. So I imagine it's likely going to be either Aatrox or Jin that is prioritized here by Wind and Rain.
Yeah, but as soon as you lock in the Aatrox, then you have to assume that if EXCEL feel like Jin is the key to their composition, then they just happily second pick it here, as long as well as, you know, a priority in the jungle. Maybe it's the Trundle again. Maybe we go somewhere else.
I don't think you'd pick up Trundle without seeing the Sejuani first. I know Taxa does like have a good amount of
Soul.
Taxa does have a lot of Trundle experience, but I think it's one of those counter picks. Yeah. That is a... I mean, look, you can pick your top lane early on because you've seen the Aatrox, but that is a gauntlet being thrown down by Sendu right here. Sendu's Fiora, I have not seen this in months. Really excited to see it, though.
I believe it's a challenge thrown down, a grand challenge.
A grand challenge. Oh, I see what you did there.
It does very well.
You limey chap.
Anyway, we're going to see Fiora actually does pretty well into Aatrox. I mean, you're able to dash around from a lot of what is going to throw at you with the Q, and you've got the W as well to try and stop any of them that you can't get away from. So I do really like this. But yeah, I was waiting to see this. Corki got a massive buff, and I was waiting for Crossman to pick it up for himself in the mid lane.
It's Crossman's speciality. The Kindred will come through. Nulty going to be in a bit more of an aggressive champion here, and does have that means to shut down high burst engages too. And now EXCEL, now they make the decision. Do they want to pick up their jungler here, or do they want to pick up a mid lane? Now, Corki's got plenty of good mid lane matchups. He's, again, like Orianna, very difficult to lock him down in a matchup that is bad for him. Yeah. And just as you said, Gosu, the Azir comes through for Rippy.
Yeah, I mean, you've got great scaling coming through. You've got a 2-item spike as well, which is fantastic.
It meets Corki's 2-item spike as well, so
exactly.
That's good.
Especially since the changes to Infinity Edge, he doesn't hit quite as hard. And you're able to play around that early level on the E, because a lot of Corkis are starting the Gatling gun now because he got that extra burst damage. Azir can just chill in the backline and have his soldiers do the work, so he doesn't really mind it too much.
Bans coming through here now, targeting that AD carry pool for Fax. Then probably not worried about the misfortune, I would imagine. So they're going to ban away other Fax-type AD carries, Varus being one of them here. And for Wind and Rain, do you think they start to limit the jungle pool, given that the jungle has not been picked up for Taxa, and that is something that's very influential for him? Yeah,
it makes the most sense, but I just don't know how you try and ban out everything. There's still, you know, Sejuani on the board, you still got the Trundle on the board as well, who doesn't do overly great into the Kindred, but you're alright.
Question, Gragas ban here. Obviously counter to Kindred in some ways. Lee Sin just buffed.
Oh my gosh.
Buffed. Taxa knows how to play Lee Sin. It is a soft counter to Kindred in ways because of the kick.
Just kick him out, yeah.
This could be very possibly a Lee Sin pickup for EXCEL here.
I hate when Lee Sin gets buffed in the meta.
But it would look pretty cool. I mean,
it would be lovely to watch. I mean, love casting Lee Sin, hate playing against him. Thresh gets banned, and if that's going to be where EXCEL goes...
he heard you.
Yeah, we knew it.
There it is.
We knew it. So I know Taxa's got a good Lee Sin, just been buffed. I think if you work out mathematically, just had a buff.
He has been,
and it is a soft counter to Kindred. Thank you, Sunday. No, sorry, thank you, Taxa, even.
And see, because the thing is, when Lee Sin goes in the later stages of the game, 9 times out of 10 he's gone onto a high health target because he's looking to get that insect play. So having that extra big buff of damage is going to be really nice for him in the later stages, and it's great in the early stages too, just because you've got an extra little bit of damage as you're trying to get into lanes and that. I want to see how heavy he can try and play this though, because we saw how aggressive he was with a Trundle. Now he's on a champion like Lee Sin that has even more options to go aggressive in the early stages.
So this is exactly what you said, Gosu. Try and give a more relaxed lane, although the Pike doesn't quite lend into it. The Ezreal definitely there for Fax, but they haven't really got the execute potential early on.
No!
Go back! Rewind! The Vel'Koz Ezreal lane would have been very difficult to deal with, but it is going to be Pike once more for Akitsune. Does give the execute damage over to Wind and Rain if they need it, but I'm not totally sold on that given the composition.
You've got an Ezreal. Like, what are you... How is he going to follow up?
Well,
I mean, he does some damage, but it's not really the AD carry.
Pike's got damage, though, so Pike can provide it himself. He's now up to XL, and look at this. What meta are we in where supports are being last picked? That's what I'm asking myself, but a good pickup, I think, there. Braum, probably the best pickup to suit the situation, especially that you're going up against 3 projectile-based carries who deal insane damage with those projectiles, so Braum especially, I think, is just a good pickup here. Really synergizes well with Jhin as well, because you can protect him pretty heavily when he's using his ultimate too.
I think the biggest thing when I'm looking at the Wind and Rain comp, though, is yes, they've got this great poke that can come through. They can take down towers incredibly fast, but they don't have great disengage. So if you're looking at Taxer when he goes into these fights, who really stops him from insecting? I mean, Akazune, unless he's got the hook already wound up before Taxer goes in, isn't really going to do very much. You can have Fax, yes, he can, you know, arcane shift away, but it still means that you're kind of in the midst of everyone, and they're going to struggle to get away from that if they're setting up for a siege, because Kerberos is going to be split pushing. Let's be realistic. Aatrox isn't great in team fights.
No, but he's better than Fiora, and let's be honest, as the game goes on, you'd probably favour Fiora over an Aatrox in a split push situation. Fiora's going to scale remarkably more comfortably than Aatrox, I feel, in a split push scenario. So I think Wind and Rain have boxed themselves in a little bit. They do have a composition that I think plays well around first Baron really nicely. Yeah. Got a really nice first Baron composition coming out from Wind and Rain, and that might be a key win condition for them. However, you look at the split push scenario, I favour Fiora as the game goes on. You go into a strict team fight, I favour EXCEL in almost every scenario. EXCEL look like they have top trumps here in terms of every win condition that you can throw in the sort of into the basket. The only thing I see going well is I think Crossman's got to pop off on this Corki. I think we have to get Ezreal to a nice 2-item spike. They need to be looking for first Baron. They need to capitalize off that first Baron.
And I just don't see any of that happening if Taxer plays the same jungle that he played in the previous game. Now on a Lee Sin, where it's just so much easier if you're well versed on the champion. Nolty is playing Kindred. Maybe he does something aggressive in this game. Of course, he's going to have to be looking for the camps, regardless of the marks. But it just feels like after Tax's performance in Game 1, you just expect him to pop off in Game 2.
Yeah, I think jungle is exactly it. And I think if you're looking at the opposite side, Nolty has to step up in this game. And I think if he is going to do it, it has to be through the top lane. You're not really going to be able to gank the Azir. He's just got too many escapes that are there. Same in the bot lane. You don't really have the follow-up. Like, Akazune has a good bit of damage, but Fax isn't. He's going to take a long, long time to get anywhere where you can try and go against Quickset and Venzer. So you're looking to get Kerberos ahead and try and shut down this Fiora. As he said, once she scales and she gets a few levels in her, she's just going to beat Kerberos. You want to get this guy as far as ahead as possible, and I think particularly with Fiora on red side, you've got a lot of options there to try and gank the top side of the map, but it's going to be a case of if Nolty actually gets his finger out and gets out of that jungle.
And if he's able to gank and put the pressure down the top side, that's great, but what I really actually want to see is him matching Tax's rotations for the bot lanes and providing the counter gank pressure necessary to keep Fax alive, because when you look at the or probably Akazune more than anyone, because when you look at the Jhin, the Braum, and then a Lee Sin, there's so much CC available, there's so much burst available as well in that lane, and if Tax is getting impactful ganks every time to the bot side, then that's just going to be once more another game where Venzer is popping off.
The problem with Kindred versus Lee Sin matchup is if Kindred ganks a lane and Taxa has read that and counter ganks, Kindred can't do anything. Kindred's doomed. I mean, Lee Sin is a king of counter ganks. If you go in, commit yourself, take a bit of damage, all Lee Sin needs to do is pop in, land a Q, deal heavy damage, and turn the gank around on its head. So the problem you are as a Kindred is if you're playing against the Lee Sin, you have to be super careful and super aware of where Tax is going to be at all times, because you need to pick your moments really carefully. Kindred is such a vulnerable early jungler pre-6. Lee Sin can continue to keep the pressure on her. He can invade her, he can contest Scuttle Crabs really well, he can counter gank her really well. He's generally just a good pick into Kindred in most circumstances. So that's what you have to be careful of as Nolty. Maybe he's better off farming marks until 6, but that might allow Taxer to get too much pressure.
I think that's exactly what Taxer would be looking to do. It'll be him trying to follow Nolty and see if he can try and do that, because if I'm looking at the lanes that are coming through for Wind and Rain, it's, you know, Akazune on this Pike is too easy to escape, Ezreal just hops out, you've got the Valkyrie for a Crossman. I mean, it's too difficult for you to try and get onto one of these guys, but if you, as you're saying, can get in and just counter gank one time, you can shut down this Kindred and completely turn a lane in your favor.
And I don't think that Nolty really read Taxer whatsoever in Game 1, and so if we're just going to use Game 1 as an example of Nolty's jungling today, he was nowhere near Tax's rotations. There were no possible counter ganks. He just wasn't in position for anything. And the times that he just happened to be on the same side of the map as Taxa just felt coincidental.
Yeah, it was. And also, I think if you look at the point that Rob just made, Ezreal, Pyke, hard lane to gank as a Lee Sin. You commit yourself pretty hard, especially if they dash when you've landed your Sonic Wave. Mid lane, hard to gank a Corki. The only lane that I think you gank as a Lee Sin is top lane, and then that's ganking a Fiora early can be sometimes risky. So it is, for me, Taxa about putting pressure on Nolty and reading him more than Taxa being proactive here. It's a reactive jungle early. You have to read where Nolty is, look for counter ganks. Or, if no one's ganking, you put pressure on that Kindred. So I think that's where Taxa's going to go. Guys, if you want to be involved, hashtag ForgeChampions3 on Twitter. The question that we asked earlier, and the question I will pose you again, is who do you think out of the 4 remaining teams, EXCEL, Hyperion, Enclave, and Wind and Rain, will adapt best to the new patch that dropped just before the tournament started? Can you leave your comments in the box below and
make sure you hit subscribe.
Hit subscribe and that like button.
Out a suggestion box.
Can we get 1,000 likes? If we get 1,000 likes, I will eat a chili. There we go. So,
can we pick the chili?
Yeah, no. no, you can't. Boys, I'm going to move on to prediction time. This is the chance where I do offer you the Scoundrel special, the flip-flop. I'll ask you, do you want to purchase a flip-flop?
I am sticking to my 2-0 win,
right?
No.
Well,
I would love to flip-flop.
You can take. Okay. Well, you have to put this flip-flop on your head if you want to flip-flop.
2-0 Wind and Rain.
That was actually my shoe. That was actually my real shoe.
You're gonna need
I know. I actually have to go and get that. Actually, could you just go get me my shoe, please?
I will whilst I'm casting.
No, can you do it now?
Now?
Yeah. Please.
I'm being told that I have to. Production said I have to as well.
Yeah, please go and get my shoe.
I'll go get it.
Be sure to. Oh well, we're in game. Dowsy's just getting my shoe. It looks like we are good to go. Thank you, Dowsy. Did you want to flip flop?
No,
you're
no,
already
EXCEL.
EXCEL. Yeah, you're already EXCEL. So boys, this is it. Dowsy and
we don't need a scoreboard.
Gosu, keep going.
We don't need a scoreboard. We're all right in this, but I think already, yeah. We can see. Going to be trying. Actually, junglers both starting on opposite sides of the map. No, I'm wrong. Never
Actually,
mind.
we do need a scoreboard because that's tilting me a little bit.
Can we pull it up? I mean, that's
press O. You can do it. No? Okay. But anyway, we can see both junglers are actually on the same side of the map right now. So you can see Lee Sin, as you were saying already, Excounter was trying to get that pressure down, trying to get involved and see what he can do. But Kindred's already stolen that buff away. So if I'm looking at Wind and Rain and Nolty, who we were saying already, can maybe cause a bit of an upset. He started off well into this.
Yeah, no, that's see if Nolty can continue. I guess what he needs to be doing is the pressure that Kindred brings with him. They know where the Illustrious is. They have vision. Know that he's top side. But is that enough, really, to be able to deal?
I think it just kind of helped out a little bit. And you can see already how defensive Kerberos is playing because he knows that, look, we've seen Lee Sin on the top side of the map. We know that right now Kerberos, you've got to play it a little bit safe. But already Sendo is putting down a good chunk of damage. And this is kind of why we saw the Fiora come out. It's great to be able to dash in, deal a little bit of damage, but we got a sneaky taxer in the bush here.
Oh my gosh, Kerberos spaced it. Yeah, okay, that's fine. They knew he was doing it. It was like, where else could he be? He didn't come back from his topside jungle. There he is, spotted out, recalling.
Yeah, they have already wasted a little bit of the early pressure though. Kerberos played it well, knew that he had to play it safe in the top lane, so nothing really happens, and this is just kind of wasted time for Taxer. It's given Nolty that opportunity. Picks up the Skull Crab, has already picked up one of the buffs, so Nolty is well on his way to starting out this game in a great fashion. Now working his way down towards the bottom side of the map, and we'll have to see how he can continue this. You can look at the scoreboard just pops up 24 CS to 17, so he's doing fantastic right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Not too bad for the Kindred here. Going to be heading down to the bot side jungle to get those camps left alone. Wind and Rain potentially a little bit more confident this early start of the game as Sendo under the tower takes a lot of damage from those minions. Potentially not really worth diving in like that.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious what the thought process was there. He's fairly low now, and Kerberos hasn't quite hit the level 6, but he's putting a good chunk of damage back down in Sendo's direction. And this could be somewhere that they could look for the dive, as level 6 will be coming up relatively soon.
Where's Nolty at? Trying to look for the mark in the lane. Sendo flashing over. Kerberos trying to find it, but that's going to be a response That finds the first blood. And it was a lovely play by Sendo.
You said you wanted a gauntlet thrown down, and Sendo happily picks that up and slaps Kerberos across the face with it, because that was fantastic play coming through from him. It looked like it was going a bit awry for Sendu, but speaking of,
don't worry, you can just Valkyrie away.
Yeah, still though, Wind and Rain. We were saying Nulty was the linchpin for them in this one, trying to see if he could get ahead. He starts off great, but the lane's not so hot.
Oh, nice little pullback onto Venza there, but I mean, we've already talked about how Jin's just not, Ezreal's just not really going to be able to follow up too much in the early game.
And so potion start as well.
Right, yeah.
Very defensive start coming through for Fax, so he just doesn't want to mess with anyone for at least the next, 10 to 15
Holy moly. Fiora's level 6 already, and Kerberos is getting bullied, trying to just get back into the lane. I mean, this is this is not how you wanted the game to start if you were Kerberos, who's doing his best, but the stun gets repulsed once more. Lee Sin's moving his way up top, so is Kindred. Looks like Nulty may be the one making the first move as Kerberos going in with the ultimate, trying to pull Sendo back, but here comes Nulty! And of course that Lee Sin. Can they find the kill into Sendo is the real question. No, they can't. That's going to be easily traded 1-for-1. Crossman's in top, but they're not going to follow it up. I mean, what happened there, Gosu?
But that's what we were talking about in the champion select, was that Taxer wants to try and play around where Nulty is. We said Nulty wants to be playing around Kerberos, so how about Taxer just camps himself up in this top lane? He's got his tent set up and is able to turn that gank around entirely. That's exactly what we were saying, is Lee Sin, he hurts like crazy now if he gets onto squishy targets, and Nulty is just squishy enough.
2-1 for EXCEL, but in this game Nulty has shown a fresher breath air, I guess you can put it.
Would you say it was like Febreze, breath of fresh air, or?
I was what was I gonna say? I had a good pun lined up for Scoundrels. What did he say? There's no rain in the clouds.
Yeah.
For Wind and Rain, I was just like, you can leave your umbrellas and coats at home because EXCEL are excelling.
You just want to see excelling just clog up that Twitch chat. That's all that you want right now.
I like that the music stopped as I made the worst pun.
It was way more dramatic than
history. It was like the production were like, Dowsy, did you actually just say this?
Look,
why
back
do we
it up,
keep
boys.
inviting
Get your
you
umbrellas
back?
and coats. We're going home.
Holy moly. I mean, this is not the worst start for Wind and Rain. This is where they need to be. The question is, can their composition actually contest what EXCEL have lined up here? Because already, Fiora with a bit of a lead in the top lane. Here's that replay actually of the first fight up in top lane. Look at this.
Yeah, this was fantastic, and Sendo plays this really, really well. This is the biggest problem that you have with Aatrox, is everything is really telegraphed. So, doesn't quite land the parry, but it doesn't matter. He's already dodged away from the first Q, has managed to flash out
now he's looking for more. Oh, the stun comes through. Grand challenge 1, 2. Doesn't even need to hit them all. Just needs to auto attack. And Sendo will find a solo kill up in the top side. And already, if you're Kerberos, I think you're probably done.
Yeah, I mean, we were saying already, Kerberos doesn't look great on this Aatrox. He gave over several solo kills to the Poppy. Now he's doing the same against the Fiora, and Sendu is going to be delighted because he's already got his Ravenous Hydra. It's going to be working very quickly up towards that Black Cleaver, and once it gets to that stage, Kerberos doesn't really have much he can do.
Pretty adventurous. They knew where he was backing because they had that vision in the back bush, but I mean, what were they meant to do? They didn't really stop much here. Teleport's also done for Sendo, and down for Kerberos as well, so maybe they're able to push the lane in.
Yeah, and now they've roamed up twice with Crossman, and twice now is just given Rippy the opportunity to farm up on this Azir, which is most certainly not what you want to be doing if you're on the side of Wind and Rain. These should be lanes that you should be pushing heavily and starting to get your advantages. Instead, the Rippy and EXCEL and everyone on the side of EXCEL, to be honest, is just having the time of their life, farming up to the items they want. Look at the CS lead in the bottom side of the map for EXCEL as well. Venzer has just been so dominant down here.
And a solo Drake for Taxer as well. There's no way that Nulty or Crossman were going to be able to contest it. Just nowhere near that side of the map. So Ocean Drake in the pocket for EXCEL here. It's only a 1,000 gold lead. But a lot of that is actually just coming from CS differentials in the spot side. Venzo has farmed a storm, and can't really say the same for Fax.
Yeah, I'm looking at this bottom lane though, and the items that have been picked up. I'm seeing Moby Boots
wow.
and Akasune, which means
Nolty's
he wants
in
to get
trouble.
rolling.
I mean, there's not much even to say here. Has the ultimate to stay alive for now, but as soon as he exits it, Sendo will fly on over and stop up that one from going anywhere other than to the grey screen.
Yeah, it's kind of gone from bad to worse for Wind and Rain, and especially in this top side of the map. 3 kills onto this Fiora. She's actually going up towards the Triforce now instead. Has that Sheen built, and Akasune trying to get something back.
They're trying. Akasune's pike hasn't looked as hot in this game as it was in the game 1. He was hitting his abilities, chaining the combos in game 1, but I mean, most of the stuff that he threw out in that little fight under the tower didn't really connect.
And what I wanted to say before Nolty rudely interrupted me by dying was that the Moby Boots that are picked up by Pike mean that he wants to try and roam or at least do something in that respect, but you can't really do that with Fax because yes, he's going to be able to farm from pretty far away using that Ezreal, having the Mystic shots there, but you're being pushed in so consistently by the bottom lane of EXCEL that you're never going to have the opportunity to roam without just losing out on a heap of farm, a heap of XP.
Kerberos once more in so much trouble, forced to pop the ultimate. Oh, Fax knocked up, not where he wants to be, rooted on down. Venza's trying to get on in, but here comes Akasune with the execute. Another flashed away by Venza. Nolty finds the gank, finds the kill. Venza's going to throw out the curtain score, and we get to watch him shoot the gun. Do it one more time. Oh, good boy.
Yeah. He ends up firing down, but I think it was EXCEL getting a little bit ahead of themselves.
Kerberos, I mean,
he's got him.
What's just one attack?
Yeah, the Sheen proc and a Vital means that Exendu has picked up another one. Spamming the Mastery, and this is now your win condition.
Don't worry, mate. You don't need to spam that. We can see that you're pretty good at Fiora.
Yeah. Just in case you didn't realize.
Just in case.
Yeah. The scoreline, you know, wasn't enough.
4-1-1, a 30 CS
no.
lead.
Crossman, no.
Good night, sweet prince. Good flash, but I don't think that means anything for Crossman, who will just go down to Sendo. He finds his 5th kill. And here comes the Rift Herald. And I wanted to talk about that because whilst the Rift Herald was being taken by Taxa, the Scuttle Crab was being taken by the bot side Venza and Quickseth. Taxa then moved into his jungle and denied the mark. Oh my goodness, EXCEL just full control over the map, full control over the game.
Yeah, again, I kind of think it was a bit of a waste though there where they used the Rift Tower top. You would have just got that tower anyway. Now, it's not a big thing, but it could have just helped them accelerate. I mean, they're already so far ahead though, it's not going to make a big difference, but in a kind of a slightly more even game, it would have been a bit of a factor.
Yeah, sure. It's one of those things that maybe you pressure the mid lane and break that open instead. That tower was going to fall regardless.
Chipped, yeah. I mean, Azira's done a good job of pushing this in. We've seen Crossman keep attempting these roams. That's the 3rd time we saw him in top lane where he went up just to go down, and it means that Rippy has had time to just wail away in this 3rd. It's already below a quarter or a 3rd HP anyway, at least. And I mean, it's just been consistent play from EXCEL. Everything that they've gone for is pretty much worked out, and they haven't ever had to overexert themselves either. It's kind of Wind and Rain put themselves up on a platter.
Yeah. Triforce completed for the Fiora in the top side, and Kerberos doesn't want to even lean anymore against Sendo. You can see how far he's fallen back, waiting for that wave to try and crash on in. Nolty forced to roam towards the top side of the map as well, to try and help the Aatrox in this lane, which just opens up the game once more for Venza and Quickseth. As soon as that Kindred gets spotted over towards the top side, then they can continue playing aggressive down in bot.
I think if I'm looking at EXCEL, they kind of want to put the pressure down still on the top lane. If you are looking towards Rippy in that mid, he's just picked up his blue buff, and if you can try and pick up the blue buff on the opposite side using the pressure you have from Sendo, or Sendo even, you can try and just shut down the pushing back power of Crossman, and you can start to chip away in this 3rd again. Just keep going, and look, it's just working for them across the board. They're consistently just being able to just take a shot here, a quick hit here, and they're just getting these turrets down.
Vision control in these bushes pretty good for the side of Wind and Rain. Trying not to telegraph. They know that Lee Sin is here, but also trying not to to die to him. Can't really do both. Kerberos once more locked into a battle with the Fiora. Sendu, I mean, can't quite find the kill just yet, but we do see Crossman roaming towards top side to try and defend his blue buff. And as it all happens, EXCEL moving in towards this turret in the bot side. Pretty chipped down. The Crossman busy That means the mid lane is exposed again. Venza gets pulled in. This is a really good start. The execute doesn't quite find the kill, but Nolty's coming on in, and they find it onto Venza. Teleport will come through from Zendo. They have to retreat. Akasuni gonna get stunned, trying to dodge it out with the stopwatch, able to do so, but there is the lockdown. Kindred ultimate, trying to keep everyone alive. Akasuni gets out, but Nolty doesn't, and now they're looking for Akasuni as well. Crossman comes in. Maybe he can clean up Sendu. Yeah, he is. The shutdown comes through. Rippy turning up very late, and Crossman might just want to continue this. Oh my goodness, that fight went really lopsided both directions.
Yeah, sloppy play from EXCEL. They were trying too hard to push onto that turret, and Venza ends up paying for it with his life, gets caught out by a nice hook from Akasune, and that was just messy. It was just EXCEL just kind of let their head down for a second or two, and Wind and Rain were able to capitalize. Does mean that Kerberos is able to get a good chunk of farm back for himself, because he's been fairly shoved out away from any sort of pressure that he could have created, and as well giving those kills over into the hands of just anyone on Wind and Rain are going to be helpful.
Nice stuff. Wind and Rain making the movement around the map necessary to try and counter what EXCEL is throwing at them. I believe that was a 2-for-2 in the end, right?
Yeah, and both went to Sendu as well. 7 and 2 on this Fiora.
Yeah.
He is just so far ahead. I actually don't know how Kerberos can lane against him anymore.
He can't.
Yeah, it's just so much damage.
Wasn't able to get the top turret either. Unfortunate for Kerberos in the top side. But much needed experience, much needed CS flooded back into his system here. Nolty is top as well. Just going to try and hold off Sendo, but he has to be careful he doesn't just get dived upon here. No Lamb's respite for him.
I like what they're starting to do with Rippy though on the side of EXCEL. He's went back into his own jungle, he picked up the wolves, now he's pushed in towards the enemy side Raptors and he's picking up them. So he's starting to just use the pressure that EXCEL have to pick up more and more farm for himself. And it's not Taxer getting the farm, he knows he's not the carry here, but Sendu, who is in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, he's going to get pulled on back in. Crossman looking for a kill, and he's going to get it. The second onto this Fiora. Looks like EXCEL though will strike back with a turret and another Ocean Drake of their own.
I mean, at this stage, Ocean Drake isn't too big, but being able to relieve the pressure that's coming through from Sendu on the top side will actually help out Wind and Rain quite a substantial amount. Crossman, 4th time the charm, managed to help out that time around, but it's again, they're just kind of slowly chipping away in this turret, and EXCEL went for the Drake so they couldn't get that mid lane turret, but it's so low. I mean, if they commit any sort of members or any sort of pressure towards that, it'll go down with a breeze.
Definitely not out of count just yet. Wind and Rain really trying to combat everything that EXCEL's thrown at them so far. Also, this skin is disgusting. I can't tell at all where the knock-up zones are when he places his Qs down.
It looks really odd as well. Is it just me, or is it just all the vision on the map
like that?
Yeah, it kind of freaks me out. I've never seen someone who's Rift that bright before.
Yeah, I mean, I've played other MOBAs where the fog of war doesn't exist, and this is what it looks like. Kind of scary.
Yeah, I don't like it. Make it go away.
Well, there it is. So much more nicer. All right, cool. So we're 5 and 8, but more importantly, we're only 1.5 gold down as Wind and Rain here at the 19-minute mark. Drake is going to be spawning soon. Wind and Rain have a relatively good composition to take Baron, I should say, spawning soon. They have a fairly good composition to take the first Baron if they can find a slight advantage against EXCEL. Finding that advantage is hard with Kerberos continuously split pushing bot lane.
I'm trying to see when they want to fight on the side of Wind and Rain, and I'm looking, you know, you've got the Iceborne Gauntlet complete on Ezreal, you've got that Manamune coming through soon as well. I think this could be a time alongside Corki picking up that Triforce and moving in towards that Stormrise as well. Or actually, could be the Infinity Edge now that the build pass changed. But either or, they still have a good opportunity to fight at these two items. The problem is EXCEL are kind of already just firing through that stage. You can already see Jin's got his 2 items completed. Azir isn't too far away from it either. So if you're looking for a fight, it's got to be soon.
Oh my gosh, Kerberos is in so much trouble. There's no one here to save him. He's going to be able to resurrect in the ultimate. Positions himself nice and far from the turrets here. But now that's just going to be Fiora pushing on in. And Kerberos may be even forced to blow his teleport if he wants to keep that turret alive. Not something you want to do. especially when you're trying to contest Baron.
Especially when they got this much pressure in mid as well. Fax is in the firing line.
It's just dodging out. Just a zoning ultimate here from the Jin. Sendu wasn't able to quite finish down the turret, but EXCEL will move over towards the Baron pit here and make sure that their vision control is king in this area.
No ult on Kerberos, he has to be careful here. Sendu wants blood.
Oh my gosh, he's going to go in. Kerberos, I mean, there's nothing you can do but flash the war. Sendu's tanking turret, doesn't even matter. Very happy to do so. Crossman is bot. I mean, looks like it's just going to be the respect coming through, but a two-man Baron play. Taxa and Rippy, look at all the soldiers doing work. It's not a two-man Baron, it's a 10-man Baron.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta say, EXCEL have just looked absolutely astounding this series. Very little breaks in their play. They haven't really let up, and I I pointed out one or two, but realistically, it means nothing. EXCEL have just looked so dominant, and if I'm the guys in the other semis, I gotta be worried about this. But you can see already, that was a great turnaround gank coming through from Wind and Rain, and one of the few moments of light that we've seen coming from them. It ends up coming with Sendu TPing in, and he's able to pick up the double kill. But I mean, in that situation, Wind and Rain would have been happy with just going even.
Oh, and they did in the end, due to the fact that they got the first kill, and then they got the massive amount of shutdown gold as well coming through onto Crossman. Clearly one of the people that you want to be getting shutdown gold onto. Sendu's hunting for a Darkin, but it's not going to be able to find it. Kerberos able to get back to base safely this time around. 7-3-1 though on that Fiora. The only LB kill Taxa holds.
7-3-1 and now a Baron to boot as well. This just split push pressure that Kerberos has to deal with. I don't see a way of him dealing with it unless Crossman's pretty much with them 24/7, and it's got to be him because Noti would just get destroyed as well.
Oh, he's still there. No, honest. Crossman. All right, Curtain call to slow down. Chilling Smite as well. Here comes Quick Step on the back line, but Kerberos is here. Trying to jump over the wall. Oh, that's lovely stuff from the Azir.
I think they forgot about Fiora though.
Yeah, I mean, she's taken one turret. And now she's going to look to take a second turret.
They're like earrings, you know,
and
you want one for the other as well.
I don't think that Wind and Rain are going to be able to backpull. I mean, look at her down the bot lane. She's going to be on the inhibitor soon enough.
What?
Holy moly. You've just... Kerberos, you know how split pushing works, right?
He is the split push. Like, this guy is known for his split push, and he's just now fallen so far behind, and Sendu is just running him about the place.
And now Kerberos may just be dead here. Pops the ultimate to get the resurrection, and he will indeed get the resurrection. But I mean, Sendu's not even taking turret. That's the kill coming through. He could just finish the game by himself. Wind and Rain now have to fall back to their base whilst the rest of EXCEL chase on dearly. The Nexus turret's being taken on down by this Fiora as we speak. And it looks like EXCEL going to be very happy just playing on all fronts here. Falling back, and it looks like Fiora, I mean, the call for Sendu surely has been said. Fall back, mate, and he will. Yep, there he goes. EXCEL decide they're not going to be too cocky here, Gosu. They're going to give Wind and Rain one last chance.
I mean, there's a Mountain Drake up as well, as if they needed more damage to deal with things, but it's going to help them out. I mean, it'll definitely help Sendo try and crack through these Nexus health bar, or Nexus Tower health bars even. See, that one is nearly gone to fall, but now all you got to do is you just Sendu into the top lane. He'll be able to push that in. Kerberos has already shown that he can't deal with them no matter how many towers are in the way. So you've got to try and find some way of plugging the ship that's very quickly sinking for Wind and Rain. And I just don't know how they can try and do that.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, because it has been a long time since I've seen Kindred. But the fact that I see a mark there on Gromp means that she hasn't collected very many this game, right?
No. She hasn't gone in. That was there from about 7 to 8 minutes, and she hasn't gotten in there yet to actually see that it's gone. Yeah. That's just how dominant EXCEL have been in this entire game.
Sad times. Crossman caught out by Sendo, potentially the double Valkyrie to try and find the range, but oh, when there's a flash involved, you're not going anywhere. That's the knife for Sendo there. Mid laner down, one of the main damage dealers that Wind and Rain have been able to rely on so far, and maybe Fax could be next. Trying to pull Quick Step back under the turret, trying to just lure him back in, but Sendo's behind, and in fact, where's his health bar gone? He is in so much trouble. Sendo, in the middle of the fight, gets executed by Akasuni. Maybe they can turn this around. Wind and Rain trying to. The Resurrect comes through for Kerberos and the rest of the team falling back through the back gates. Rippy gets pulled in. No, Rippy pulls himself in, finds 2 before he loses his life. Kerberos tries to get in. Taxa follows Akasuni across the map with Kerberos and Akasuni dead. The ace for EXCEL, 3 men alive. They're going to look to try and finish this one up.
I mean, there's 25 seconds left on anyone, really. They could go and try and end towards or through the bottom lane. Actually, as I said, that Crossman is still up. But, I mean, that for most of that fight, there weren't 5 members of EXCEL there. It was Taxer, Rippy, and Sendu came through. Quickset joined as well. And Venzer was a very, very far away from the start of that fight. So this was EXCEL completely just turning around in a fight that wasn't even to begin with.
It should have been a fight, really. No. But there was. And now, EXCEL breaking open the mid lane. Inhibitor Tower will go back to base and reset. We got Baron spawning in a minute and a half. We got items to purchase as well. And you have to think that if EXCEL decide that grouping as 5 is a good idea, then that's it.
Do you even need to? I mean, you've got Fiora who she just melts towers if she's allowed to touch them.
And Aatroxes as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a hard word to say in plural. Aatroxes. Aatroxes? Aatroxies.
I don't know.
Aatroxes.
If we could get the League of Legends dictionary out or whatever
please.
it is, that would be fantastic.
Language experts in the UK, please correct me. I did manage to get an A in English A levels, but I don't know how.
I mean, it's got to help you out at some point when you talk so much as a career.
Yeah. No, I genuinely, it's one of the life's great mysteries, is how I got it. I can't spell. I'm dyslexic. The words just don't make sense. Here we go.
Yeah, that's even more impressive then.
Let's see what makes sense. A Pike and an Aatrox chasing down a very fed Fiora.
Sounds like the start of a bad joke, to be honest.
It could be a bad time for Wind and Rain and EXCEL laughing all the way home to the bank. That would be... I guess that's kind of how jokes work, right? Is one person cries of cringe and the other laughs. Usually it's me laughing.
One of my jokes, yeah. I'm renowned for my terrible jokes in the Irish scene, so I think there's probably a few people that can back me up there.
I see you withheld today.
Yeah.
Great courage shown.
It's been tough, I'm not going to lie.
Baron started up by EXCEL as Sendo going to be knocking down this inhibitor as we speak. The Ezreal ult eaten up by a shield. And from Helds. Looks like EXCEL going to fall off the Baron though, just for times B. They don't really need to do anything. Sendo's doing it for them.
Yeah, Sendu got 2 towers in the last push. He's getting 2 inhibitors this time around. Might even try his luck and see if he can get 2 Nexus turrets, as Kerberos is the last man remaining.
What a deal!
It's even better than flip-flops.
Better than flip-flops. Oh boy. Venzer, is he called out here?
He is definitely called out.
He looks like he's very called out here. Oh my goodness, EXCEL, that's not how you do this. Wind and Rain somehow find Venzer. And Sendo's like, nah, I'm just going to kill Kerberos in response. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Though he doesn't quite connect all the fatals. Yeah, that's going to be him alive. That's going to be a package picked up for Crossman as well. Crisis averted, question mark?
A good bit. I mean, it does give them time. They're not out of the woods. I mean, there's still a lot there. But it definitely buys them time. And that's a couple of times now Venzer has gotten a little bit too far forward and has cost his team a bit. It could definitely be further punished if they were against, and I don't want to say a better team because it's a bit BM, but realistically a better team.
A team that was more ahead in this game than EXCEL were. We've got a replay here. I think it may potentially be that... oh no, it's this fight earlier.
Yeah, I mean, Quickset manages to get out of here because he's never actually hit someone, and Sendu just dives directly onto Fax. He's gone from this team fight completely, and look where Jin is. Jin has the entire time to wander down. Now his ear is just empty. Yeah, his ear is only entering the fight now as well, and this fight's already nearly over for Wind and Rain. Fax is out of the fight, Nulty's out of the fight.
Sounds... Oh, okay.
Yeah, it just doesn't matter. Like, 3 members, it was Taxer, Sendu, and Quickset are able to hold off the entirety of Wind and Rain.
Oh my goodness, uh-oh. Teleport coming through. Nulty is in so much trouble. That's going to be Sendu laying down the Grand Challenge Land's respite to try and keep him alive, but he can't survive. He goes down. Akasuni on the wrong side of town, a second for EXCEL, and Wind and Rain have to walk away 3 members alive, a Baron to be taken, and potentially the dreams shattered here in the 3rd qualifying tournament.
I have no idea why Nulti and Akitsune were up that far, especially only as a 2-man. I could understand if they're trying to get vision in around that Baron pit so they can make sure that EXCEL aren't doing it, but you can't even contest them if they are. It's kind of just caught between a rock and a hard place. You try and fight at the Baron, you lose. You let them have the Baron, you lose. So they were trying to make something happen, but caught that far out with only 2 single members, and it's kind of just been the story of the game. Wind and Rain never got lift under their wings, and they haven't looked like a cohesive unit at any point in time.
Woohoo! Here we go. Back's in trouble. Sendo in the middle of no man's land. It may just lose his life. Yep, Pike will finally execute. But it doesn't even matter because his inhibitors are down. The minion wave's being pushed in, and EXCEL looking to finish the dirty deed. Nulti once more will see Grey as the kill gets picked up by Venza. Crossman trying to lay down damage. Artillery turret on the backline has to flash away from the root from Venza. And it's just nothing that Wind and Rain can do. This Nexus going to be focused on down. One last hurrah for Akitsune. He gets popped by Taxa, and that's going to be EXCEL with a very clean 2-0 here in this series to make their way over to the finals of this 3rd qualifying tournament.
Yeah, Wind and Rain, we wanted to see what they could do, and answer was nothing against an EXCEL lineup that just looked so strong. There just didn't look like any inlet for Wind and Rain to try and be aggressive, find an opening for themselves, and they consistently picked losing lanes, and it cost them.
Yeah, I think the only lane that we had that was potentially early game favored could have been that top lane, but again, we saw a lot of action from the junglers up there. You know, we knew that Taxa would focus the top lane because it was really the only lane that he could have had an impact in, because Corki and Ezreal lanes are very difficult to gank notoriously. Good counter ganks in the bot lane, a lot of good ganks in the top lane to get a 5-1 Fiora on the roll. I mean, it was a split push that worked really well.
Yeah, and I think it was what we talked about at the beginning of the game was Taxer reading Nulti as to where he's going to be. We said it already. Nulti didn't really have an inlet in the bottom lane because no damage from Ezreal. Didn't have an inlet in the mid lane. So look, he's got to go top. So Taxer just decided to go up there over and over again. You
can see this was the final team fight that just before they ended up winning the game. I mean, they were so far ahead at this point, it really didn't matter. But obviously, Wind and Rain caught out of position time and time again. They will find themselves going down in the semi-finals to the 3rd/4th spot, and EXCEL will be setting up a potential rematch if Enclave manage to beat out Hyperion. That is the game that we are going to look towards next, ladies and gentlemen. We will be looking towards the Hyperion Enclave semi-final. Enclave, given recent performances, probably come in as favourites, but Hyperion have been on the up and had an excellent performance last week. I believe they took out Diabolus, which was a massive win for them. Diabolus woes continue, but Hyperion claim the spoils from that matchup and now are taking on a very strong team in the form of Enclave. So what do you think? I mean, we'll talk a little bit more about it before we prep into that match. EXCEL secured their place in the final. I don't think anybody expected otherwise, even though Darcy was memeing. And Hyperion versus Enclave. Was that a splash in the pan for Hyperion last week? Was that a very small flash of brilliance, or are they going to be giving a real challenge to Enclave here?
I think Diabolus are readable. And so anyone who puts their research and their effort into watching any Diabolus game and then overlaying them with another one and then overlaying them with another one, you tend to see that they do the same things at the same time in the same places with the same people. And so if you start to learn, alright, well, if this is how they're going to play League of Legends most competitive games, then we can counter that, then all of a sudden you have a lot of power to yourself as any team, really, to be able to counter that. Execution is all it comes down to. Hyperion were able to execute in their series against Diabolus, but Enclave aren't so linear. They can definitely have different ways they play around. I mean, obviously Rift is going to be a big factor, but they've brought Bendy over from North America to compete for them as well. So, you know, they feel like a team that has star power all around the roster. And I think that Hyperion potentially just don't actually have much to deal with that.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Hyperion is suffering a little bit from the Diablos effect, because for me there was 2 big picks for them. It was Dan XD on that Gnar, he looked fantastic, and it was ADM on the Galio in the mid lane. I think if you take these 2 guys and just get rid of those champs, I think they just fall back into old habits. It's just, this is, you know, going for the poppy, and it's like overlaying a video again. You just see them rinse and repeat the same thing over and over.
ADM is the only person in this tournament to successfully pilot Syndra, and Syndra has just been buffed on 8.15, so maybe a potential pick that we can talk about if it does come up.
It was unfortunately though against a very, it was against an open bracket team.
Sure, very well. But regardless, he's one of the few mid laners that has piloted Syndra. We are going to go to a very quick interval, but when we come back, we will be starting the second semi-final of the night. It will be Enclave versus Hyperion. Who will secure their place in the final versus EXCEL? We'll find out soon.